Today we are making these two sliding knot bracelets. This one here just has a design at the front and then a sliding knot on each side. So they're adjustable, slip over your wrist and then you can do them up again. I do find that's a bit harder with this one on your own because you can't use your hand that the bracelet's on. This design tends to fall downwards. So see that with the weight of the beads, they fall underneath your wrist all the time. And that's why I designed this one here, because it has the design on both sides. So whichever way your hand is and whichever way the bracelet is, you can still see it. This one has just one knot in the middle and it has the two strings that you can pull tight to adjust it. So you can pop some little beads on the end of the ties of these ones as well to grab onto, but this one is a bit easier to do up on your own because of the longer string, so you can sort of reach them a bit easier. So today we have our ruler, lighter knotting tool, some scissors, and then I've got my 1mm waxed twine. And that's what we use today. So I've also laid out my design as well. There's so many other options for whatever you want to pop on there, but today we're just going to do the rainbow. So to start off with, we measure out about 40 centimetres of our waxed twine. We start by just folding the twine in half and finding the middle on the other end. So that part there is going to be the side part of the bracelet there. So we're going to have a design on the top and the bottom, and in the middle we leave a little bit that's going to be on the side of our wrist there. So we're just holding it there and then leaving a little bit on the side that will go around your wrist. We just tie a knot there and that's going to stop the top part of our beads. Now we can just thread on our design. I'm just going to cut that end off into a point so I can thread it a bit easier. Okay, now we have our design. We just want to tie another knot at the other end just to keep it nice and tight. So I just use my knotting tool or the beading awl there just to pull the knot nice and tight so the design's not flopping around. I have other tutorials on how to use that knotting tool if you need. Okay, so now we just sort of lay the bracelet down in the way it will sit. So just around your wrist there on that side. So with enough gap there, we just want to tie another knot on the bottom part and then repeat that process where we thread our beads on. And another knot at the end of our design just to secure those beads there. Okay, now we have both the top and the bottom of the design. So we just need to tie our adjustable knot now. Just laying the bracelet down, and we'll lay it out with the tails across the top, just how the bracelet will actually be. And now we will move on to tying our knot. I like to cut about 20 centimetres of waxed twine for this part here to do the knots. If I turn this bracelet on its side, That makes it a bit easier to do the knot. So we start off with just slipping this part that we've cut underneath both of the layers of twine there. Okay, so to start with, we put the left side over the top, and then we put the right side under and up the little hole on the left side there, and then pull it tight. This is actually a square knot. Okay, so then for this one here we do the opposite. So if we started with the left one going over the top, the second one we start with the right going over the top. So this is right over top, and then that left one you push it down and then bring it up that hole on the other side. So it's just the opposite knot to what you did previously. Okay, so left over the top first, and then the right one goes under and out the hole. We're just following that down, just doing the opposite stitch, right over left, and then this one goes under and up that hole. Pull it nice and tight. Left over the top, and then the right one goes under and then up the hole. Just keep doing that one until your knot is sort of how you like it. I like to do probably about 8 stitches on that, but a couple more or a couple less would be okay as well, depending on how much twine you've got as well. That's going to form your sliding knot there. Once you're happy with the size of your knot there, we just snip the tails off down near the knot. Because this is waxed twine, I just singe the ends of it and then push it a little bit so that it sort of seals it. If your twine isn't quite so waxy, then you can put a dab of glue, of the jewellery glue on there as well, just to make sure it's secure and it's not going to undo. Just sealing the ends there and just gently dabbing it so that it's nice and sealed. And then we've got our little tails there, so if you want to, you can add a bead onto those, or you can just tie a little knot. I'll add some beads on there, so I'll just get my sizing. You want to pull the bracelet out to size so that it will fit over your wrist, so you need to make sure that it's going to be big enough to fit over there. So when you've got it to the right size, I think that's just a little bit big, so I'll just pull it down a little bit and then just check it again, make sure. Then I know that I can put my beads on and tie a knot, and it will be big enough when it's extended. Just sliding those beads down. You know the bracelet's big enough now, so you can tie your knot with the bead quite near the knot, near the adjustable sliding knot, and then just snip it off, and the other one will just cinch the ends there. Then you should be able to pull them and your bracelet will adjust and go nice and tight. There we have our first bracelet. So I'm going to pop this on and wear it now. But see how I can actually adjust it with my own hand, which is good. Now we'll make the other one, which is a single design with the 2 adjustable knots. So again, we get about 40 centimetres of our waxed twine. just always better to have a little bit too much than not enough. So again, we're going to start folding it and just find the middle there for our design. So just finding the middle, and then you want to work out approximately how big your design is going to be. So just hold it up next to your beads and then tie a knot on one of the ends, just so that you can make sure that that's going to be in the middle. So with that first knot, you can thread your design on now. And then it's a knot at the other end to secure the design. You can just do this by hand, but I just find it's easier with the knotting tool to make sure that you can get the knot nice and close. But I do have a tutorial if you need help with that. So just lay the bracelet down and overlap the top tail so that we can tie our adjustable knots. So I like to hold it in my left hand between my fingers with the tail at the back. I pull the tail over the front, push it down and pull it out the back, and that creates the first loop. So then we repeat that, pull it over the front, push it down, and then there's a second loop there. So now all we want to do is just push that little tail down through the loops. So down both loops there, and then you just gently pull it, and that creates your first sliding knot. I'll show you again nice and slow. So holding it in my left hand and between my fingers there with the tail at the back. So just pulling that tail over the front, push it down and around the back. So that creates our first little loop there. So just repeating that again, push it down, poke it out the back, and there's our second loop, and then we just gently pop the tail down through both the little loops that we created. Then you can just gently pull the twine, so pull it on all sides, and your knot should pull tight, and it should be an adjustable knot. So there you go. Now we can just snip our tails off the end of the knot, so just leaving a little bit there, and on the other side, and just cinching that so it doesn't fray. Alright, so there we have our two gorgeous little bracelets. And there they are.